Hey guys, I just left church and I just really wanted to talk about kind of what we went over. So we went over how there's joy in being delivered. We were in Luke 13:10-17, where Jesus is teaching in a synagogue, and there's like this woman who's been like physically disabled for 18 years. Her back's like bent, like she can't straighten her back pretty much. And Jesus sees her and he calls her over to him and he touches her and he's like, "Woman, you are free. You don't have to be bound by Satan anymore. This spirit that's inside of you that's telling you you can't straighten your back." And he touches her and instantly she straightens it and she's healed, right? And so Jesus does this, and then the synagogue leaders at that time were like kind of pressed about this. They're like, "You can't do that. It's the Sabbath day. You can't work. That's considered work. You can't do this on the Sabbath day." And Jesus is like, "Okay, but you guys can feed your donkeys and give water to your donkeys and untie them and your ox on the Sabbath. That's considered work." And so Jesus calls them hypocrites. And he's basically saying like, okay, you guys care more about animals than you do people. There's like a problem with that. And so these church leaders are like, they're so caught up in their rules, right? They have such a like a rule-based religion that like they're not happy when someone gets healed, right? And that can happen a lot of times, like in the real world today. Like a lot of times we get caught up in the rules instead of that relationship. And in that relationship, there's so much more joy than being caught up in the rules and like what to follow, what to do, telling people to do this, not to do this, right? And so yeah, Jesus kind of confronts them on that. And yeah, so it's just like really important to know that Jesus can deliver us from like oppressive suffering, like anything that we're going through, anxiety, stress, fear, if you're struggling with lust, if you're struggling with depression, anything like that, Jesus can deliver you from that. But not only that, but he can deliver us from these religious rules, right? And how can he do that? You just have to believe in his affirmations, what he's telling you. Jesus, like, let's take this story for example. First, Jesus saw her. He saw this woman. He saw she was going through this. And then he called her over to him. He summoned her. And then he spoke freedoms to her. Like, you are healed. You are mine. Like, he'll speak these freedoms to us. And then he actually delivers us. And he straightened her back. And so those are kind of like the four like steps that we talked about and that we went over in this story. And in all, like, being delivered produces joy. You don't need all these fancy things. You don't need to buy all these crazy things to have true joy. You'll get true joy by resting in the fact that Jesus has delivered you, and you just have to believe in him and trust in him. And yeah, so thank you guys so much, and that's what we went over at church today.